Welcome back again to the Intel Averatec Classic Season 2. I'm Jason Lee, filling in for Nick Tasteless Plot, who is at the World Cyber Games Championships in Germany. Of course, he'll be back next week, and he'll be here also for the remainder of the season, so not to worry. We do also have, of course, another event coming up on the International Esports Federation. That's coming up Thursday and Friday, the 13th and 14th, 11 o'clock Korean time, sudden attack. So definitely very, very well-deserved in terms of his play, as well as how he's been doing as of late. Against Terrence, 46-21 is his record. He does better against Terrence than any other race in actuality. 7-3 in his last 10, including 6 consecutive wins against Terrence. His opponent is this man, FanTaSy. He's been doing well as of late. Whoa, very... He's got some fans as well, very loud here. Lots of fans to check in this last match. Currently ranked 11th with a couple of wins. And in particular, the big story with FanTaSy, he lost to Stork November the 1st, just this past week, in the Star League Final. So he's been the runner-up. Of course, Flash was runner-up in last year's season. Kind of a battle of two runners-up in this particular match. His attack rated 8.25, defense 7.25. His control is 8.5. His concentration level 7.75. All sorts of different ratings that I guess they're coming up with for this as their ratings. How does he do against Terrence? 17 wins, 14 losses for a 54% win rate against Terrence. 6-4 in his last 10 matches against Terrence. So, by the way, I understand that these guys are only 1 year apart. So they're both young players and apparently actually quite good friends as well. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup of two people that are very familiar with each other and both doing very well as of late. I mean, Flash has been doing just outstanding this entire year, but also FanTaSy doing well, as I mentioned, runner-up in the Star League final as well. So he has been on the up and up also. In terms of history, they have played each other twice. Their records, 1-1. So, who knows? I think anything can happen. I'm sure the fans have an opportunity to vote as to who you think will win this match. We'll have those numbers up after round one. But I have a sneaky suspicion that it's probably going to be overwhelmingly in favor of Flash as to who you think is going to win. But don't count FanTaSy just out yet. He has been one of these players that's been able to beat top players, and he's been showing that as of late. Ranked number 11th, not too shabby at all. And especially doing so well recently in the Star League Championships also. So this is going to be a good game to look forward. It's going to be a Terran versus Terran matchup. Remember, the other point is that Flash, while he holds a 65.8% win record, his Terran record against Terran, 68.7%. So he loves playing Terrans, and I'm sure this is going to be an interesting match right here between these two players who, as I mentioned, are actually good friends as well. One other thing I can tell you about FanTaSy in the 08-09 Pro League right now, he's 5-4. That ranks him at number 10 over there as well. So, like I said, all around, he's been doing very well this year altogether. And it looks like we are ready to go, pretty much. So here we go. First match is going to be on Destination Flash and FanTaSy. Stand by.
.com is now online.
All right, I don't know if you can hear that, but obviously some very, very exuberant fans here of both Flash and FanTaSy. I would almost venture to say the FanTaSy fans were louder. Definitely two of the more popular players here. As you take a look at all the different signs, look at these. These are all the Flash fans. As you can see, the drawing there of Flash. That's actually a pretty good drawing. Wonder if she actually did that herself or whether that was computer crafted. Here is Flash, one of the more popular players, but I'm telling you, actually FanTaSy, very popular as well. Myungun Sunsu Fighting. Fighting means kind of go, 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 fight, you know, let's go. That's what that sign says there. And as we see, Flash is down at 5 o'clock. He is going to be the red Terran. And FanTaSy is going to be opposite him at 11 o'clock. And early on, it is going to be FanTaSy who scouts earlier. Flash starting off with his barracks on the main. While, oh, look at this. So FanTaSy going with a proxy barracks. Proxy barrack right out. Let's see if it gets spotted by Flash or not. It's going to be spotted, I think. Yeah, indeed. I'm not, you know what? I'm pretty sure he must have seen that. I'm guessing that he saw that building. And the question is, how is he going to adapt to it? Well, Flash already working on the refinery. 3 SCVs for both players, mining Vespian gas. And as the barrack is almost complete, what is Flash going to start building? He's going straight to a fast factory. Factory also for FanTaSy, so I'm guessing that FanTaSy realized that his barrack was probably spotted by the SCV and perhaps changed his strategy kind of in mid-stride. And indeed, he lifts up after pulling out one Marine. And now it's kind of back to basics for both players, going the conventional route. Looking like Flash is stopped on the Vespian gas. Try to mine some more minerals. He's got enough gas to make the factory. All he wants to do is pull out some vultures now. Flash's SEV taking some hits there. And now he works, both players working on their command centers at the same time. So pretty much right now, both players with the exact same build order, except for the fact that FanTaSy built his barracks as a proxy barrack towards the base of Flash. Everything else pretty much the same outside of that. First vulture already out for both players. Mirror matchup, and we're seeing mirror build orders. Working on a second factory for Flash. Also got the machine shop being added on. And FanTaSy takes a look at the second command center of Flash. Flash is going to have a peek at FanTaSy as well. Flash starts to send his SCVs over to his natural. Ditto for FanTaSy. I think I could probably just say one thing and then just say ditto after that. And should be not too far from the fact, as both players are literally doing the exact same things right now. Neither player wanted to take too much of a risk thus far. FanTaSy knocking off a Marine with his vultures. And still the same. Both going with a third factory. As the vulture count, boy, you know, even if you look at the unit count stations down below, look at that. 7 vultures, just up to 9 for Flash, but everything is the same. There really is no difference in what they're doing right now. Even their mineral count and gas count is pretty much the same. And you know, this is basically what happens when you get 2 of the top players in the world in a mirror matchup is, hey, you're going to have people doing pretty much the same thing. That's what makes them the best, because they know the best build order. Very well practiced, of course, by these players. Probably do this standard on this map. Here comes FanTaSy, looking to make the first strike. Going to make the first hit. Trying to take off that vulture. And Flash does have a tank, and that's going to improve his chances right now. And FanTaSy is forced to back out. He's got the extra tanks there, and of course some extra vultures. So he's forced to back out. Once again, the vulture count is pretty much the same, except for the fact that Flash has 4 more tanks. Mines planted for FanTaSy. Well, it looks like this is where they're differing. It looks like the tank count is going to be the biggest difference right now. And here come those tanks. 1 tank for FanTaSy. Unit count is almost the same as well. Six tanks for Flash. And using those tanks to push forward. Let's see if those mines come into play, however. He does have siege mode. He's got to be careful with those mines out there, however. He does have the scanner. 2 of them, in fact. Will he be able to find any of those mines with them, however? So much of Terran versus Terran comes down to positioning. Who gets there first? Of course, unless the dropships come into play, which for the most part so far doesn't look like it's going to. Both players are content to build up their unit count right now. We haven't seen a starport yet. And right now it's just a standoff. It is Flash that has more territory, as both sides just trying to clear off the mines of their respective opponents. A couple of vultures pushing out for FanTaSy. Being wiped out pretty easily by those tanks in siege mode for Flash, however. 2 tanks pretty much on the down, and they're taken out. FanTaSy's losing 2 tanks. That's gotta hurt. Flash taking a little bit of an edge, but at this point, it's still too close to really give either player an edge right now. A noticeable edge, that is. Flash getting more territory as he's pushing up. Now, here's the thing. The unit counts are pretty even right now in terms of number of units. Oh, the mines! FanTaSy putting out some mines! Is he going to get any of the tanks? He gets 1 or 2! The mines are working for FanTaSy! Oh, look at FanTaSy taking out the tanks with the mines! Huge blow to Flash right now! The mine play for FanTaSy coming in. Flash trying to push up with some more, however. FanTaSy trying to gain some more ground. Real estate's so important when it comes to Terran versus Terran. Flash was slowly pushing in, but the landmine play there by FanTaSy gives him a little more room, a little more breathing room to work with, as Flash was getting very close to the natural expansion there. Flash still with a little bit of an advantage in the unit count. He's got more tanks and more vultures. FanTaSy just trying to hold back. Neither side looking to expand. Haven't seen any starports yet as well. Mines being planted by Flash, and those mines might not necessarily be there to kill other units or take out tanks. They're simply there as spotters so he can see more of the map, have a look at where his opponent is moving around. Trying to go around the other way. The mines are going to be able to spot these vultures as they move. And the vulture count for Flash a little bit higher. The siege tanks. Let's see if he's going to be able to hold them off. Or will FanTaSy be able to get some mines in there? Get some mine in, and yeah, FanTaSy knocks off another tank. Another 2 of them, actually. FanTaSy trying to push out. Flash actually predicting that move first by trying to go that way. Flash relentless and trying to box in FanTaSy. He doesn't want to let him out, but it looks like FanTaSy saying, no, I'm getting out of here, he says. Planting more mines is FanTaSy now. Trying to get some more territory. The territory play. And now FanTaSy trying to push. FanTaSy's got a load of tanks. He wants to push out. And look at the landmines by FanTaSy surrounding those tanks. FanTaSy should have enough to get out. He's not coming out all together, however. He's left a few back. He left a few back. Oh, look at the mine play here by Flash. Flash planting some mines. Does not get them blown, however. He cannot detonate them. And Flash still doing a good job of boxing him in. FanTaSy wants to get out. Some more mines being planted by FanTaSy. but still unable to pull out all the way. Flash still attacking with those vultures. What a battle we're seeing here between Flash and FanTaSy. And the unit count, Flash ever so slowly is starting to creep ahead. He's got about 20 more units than FanTaSy. FanTaSy with a lot more gas, however, not putting it to good use. FanTaSy looks like he'll win this round, but then Flash has more units to come around. Flash is eventually going to get around to that backside, making sure there's no mines along the way. There's the first starport. It's been a while. Finally, it comes out. FanTaSy wants to push out. Flash trying to contain him. And he's going to be walking into a trap here. FanTaSy, there's no way he's going to be able to push out with those units. He doesn't have enough. This one might be GG soon. I don't know if FanTaSy can hang on anymore. He can't get out. And there's the expansion now. As Flash gets the high ground with that tank, he knocks off the refinery. The refinery blow is going to be a big one right now to FanTaSy. And of course, Flash has expanded. He's also working on a starport as FanTaSy is chased back again. Look at all the red on that map right now. Starport is complete for Flash. FanTaSy still working on it. And slowly, Flash is pushing forward some more. He's got some vultures into the main. Didn't get too much damage done. FanTaSy actually has a lot more gas, but he's going to need it because he's lost a refinery. If Flash gets that expansion up, he's going to be up 2 more refineries. FanTaSy's got to be careful pushing out here. Oh, and the landmine takes out one of Flash's tanks. Sorry, that was FanTaSy's tanks, I meant. FanTaSy is completely contained right now. And he's lost a refinery. Unless he's going to pull out some magic with some drop ships, I just don't know if there's much more he's going to be able to do. Oh, he's gone to the Wraith, but Flash already has some Goliaths. I don't know if there's any answer for FanTaSy right now. Flash just inching ahead in this game, slowly but surely, as he got more territory, trying to box FanTaSy back into his natural. And look at all those units there for FanTaSy that just can't get out. They can't cross that bridge right now. The unit count is now, it's almost a 40 spread. 40 more units for Flash than for FanTaSy. Unless Flash makes some sort of a mistake. Don't know if that's going to be the answer. FanTaSy's trying to push out, but he's going to be running into all those mines. There's simply too many mines. Too many mines for Flash out there. And that's going to be GG. Look at that. The Vultures have pushed in as well. The Vultures end it all. GG. Flash. Oh, look at that. Ho-hum. Just another game by the look on his face there. And just another win. Flash, the #1 ranked player. He's held that distinction for the last 5 months. And he proves why after defeating FanTaSy in the first round of this best out of 3. Not an ounce of worry on his face. Looks very focused. The eye of the tiger is alive and well right now in this man. A little bit of a giggle here from the fans taking a look at him. And great game there. Once again, give credit to FanTaSy as well. He played a good game, but simply came up against the number one player in the world. I mean, you've got to go through him to get to the top anyways. But so far, he played a good game. It was just the little things that Flash inching in little by little with the tanks. He had his tanks out a little bit faster than FanTaSy did. He had 4 tanks before FanTaSy had 1, and he was able to push and pin FanTaSy back into his natural expansion area before he could really come out. So it's just a game that was played pretty much the exact same from both players, but when it comes to a macro standpoint, Flash was just a little bit better and ends up winning that one. So as we talked about Flash, he's been 6 straight wins against Terrans, including a 7-3 record in his last 10 matches against Terran. He's been on a roll, and he's on his way to perhaps another victory. We'll see if change of maps changes the result or not, but we'll see. First match was on Destination. Second one's going to be on Neo Requiem. Is going to be the second map.